there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it is your first time here. My name is Erin, and today's video is an episode of Hashtag Friday Sews started by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, where we just get together and talk about what we've been up to in the sewing room and in life. If you hear some snoring, it is because my sweet old beagle is down here taking his, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth nap of the day. The fifth of many that he will have throughout the day. Lucky guy. So that's what that is. It has been 2 weeks since I did a Friday Sews. I feel like it's been so long since we've had a chance to catch up, you guys. It's like when you haven't seen a friend for a while and you're like, oh my gosh, what is going on in your life? So let me start really fast with what I'm wearing. This is my Ellie and Mac staycation dress. I made it a couple months ago, earlier in the summer. It is made from a rib knit that I got at Joann's in the clearance section. The more I wear it, I have thoughts. It's very comfortable to throw on. Who would have thought a dress called the Staycation is super comfortable to lounge around in, right? I made the scoop neck. I don't think I like scoop necks. I didn't think I liked them, but I wasn't sure. To me, at least on me, they look like stretched out crew necks. I feel like this just has gone through the wash too many times, and I don't know. I want it to be just, or maybe it's too big of a scoop. I think if it was more like this, I don't know. It feels too big. Which leads me to my second point. I made an extra large. I'm 99% sure I made an extra large. I will go down to a large next time. There's just a little too much space. And where the first tier starts on this, I'm not gonna be able to show you. Where the first tier starts on this is just a smidge lower than I'd like it. Probably an inch, actually. I think I lengthened the bodice a little bit because with Ellie and Mac patterns, they're really good about telling you to measure this like side torso or whatever it's called. They're really good at telling you to measure that and then change your bodice length based on that measurement and not your height, which is really good. And I think usually with their patterns, I end up having to add a little bit. But regardless, when I make the large, I'm going to see where that first tier lands, and I want it to land right at my natural waist, which, yeah, this is about, I don't know, maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's an inch and a half. It's below that point. And I just think it would be a little more flattering and just feel a little better if it was a size smaller, a little closer fitting, and B, if that first tier started a little higher at my natural waist. So I like the dress. I wear it clearly. I wear it out of the house. It's totally fine. Very comfortable. Like I said, but those are the changes I'll make next time. In terms of sewing, I've been doing, you guys, a lot of sewing, of all kinds. I have some collaborations. I did my collaboration with Stacy for our Porter Woven Pack. The one for this month came out on Wednesday. If you've not checked that video out, definitely check it out. I really like the result I got. So I had that do in the loosest term. That I have my Project Dress a Girl video coming up next week, so I've been sewing for that. I have another collab in the middle of September that I have not started, but should be fast. We'll see. And then I am teaching a class on Saturday. So I'm filming this on Thursday, but I'm teaching it tomorrow when you're watching this. Anyway, the end of August, I'm teaching it. So I've been doing that. Plus I did some uniform alterations for coworkers of Adam's. I did charge for them, but they took a lot of time. They weren't super complicated or anything. I do not do alterations, so it just took me a little longer than it would take a professional, and that took up some of my time, which is a bummer. I did get paid. I was happy to do it. One was for someone that like needed it quickly. They didn't end up wearing it for other reasons, but whatever, I got paid. Anyway, so that took up a lot of time, unfortunately, but now I'm just whining. Let me tell you about all of the stuff I have been doing. I have a couple categories. I've decided I have things for me, things I made for the wee one, so toddler sized things, and then, are those my only subjects? I do want to talk a little bit about one of the alterations. I guess it's technically an alteration. I don't know what it counts as, but I want to talk about that and then my class. Anyway, the miscellaneous. the last section will be miscellaneous. I will have chapters down below so you can skip. If you're not interested in toddler stuff, skip past it. If you're not interested in my miscellaneous, skip whatever you want to do. Anyway, okay. So when we left off last, I was almost done with Simplicity 9929, this lounge set from Mimi G. I made an extra large. Once again, I could probably go down to a large and be totally fine. It is very comfy, it's cozy, it's loungewear, so I don't mind that it's a little big. I'm not swimming in it. I was worried I would be swimming in it. Absolutely not. I just could go down to a large and also be totally fine. I think I showed you guys the top when we spoke previously. I've worn it quite a bit since I finished it. So I have thoughts. This is a cute top. I'm glad I made the matching top. I don't think I will continue to wear it as much as I will wear the bottoms because it's just kind of impractical. Anytime I bend down, I'll try and take footage of myself later and I'll remember to bend down as long as I have something underneath. Anyway, anytime I bend down, that shawl, no, I always want to call it a shawl collar. It's not a shawl collar. This is not a shawl collar. I know what a shawl collar is. How many times can I say that in a minute? But this draping like opens up, right? Which, I mean, when I'm wearing it at home, that's fine. Usually the facing doesn't fall out because it hits my chest, but that's kind of annoying if I have a toddler, right? So I'm looking down a lot at a small human and like this kind of gets in the way. And it's just like, I have to hold it if I'm trying to do something with my hands and I need to bend over a lot. Like feeding my dog, bending over gets right in the way and I can't see what I'm doing. So that's annoying. The other thing with when you bend over is it pulls the shoulder seams forward because of the weight of the not shawl collar. It pulls everything forward. So I feel like I'm constantly pulling this back up onto my shoulders so it sits correctly. So I like the look of it. It's just very impractical to wear. The sides do not show as much as I thought they would. It looks really large and gaping, but kind of how it overlaps, it doesn't really show off that much. Unless you're walking around with your arm like this, people aren't really going to see the side of your bra or anything. So that was not the issue that I thought it could potentially be, but yeah, everything to do with this is annoying. So I will not make this top again, probably, unless I have a very specific reason to have a really cute matching lounge set. And this doesn't cut it. I don't know. I'm never say never. Don't plan on making this again. But the pants, you guys, the only issue I have with these is that the crotch just falls really low. And like I have a decent bum. Like usually the rise is, usually I have to lengthen a rise, you know, or do a full booty a big butt adjustment as I call them. But the crotch is just really low. Which once again is fine for lounging, is good for lounging, but the tops of my thighs do touch, like within the pants. So again, if I went down to a large, that might not be such an issue. I'd have to see. One thing I do really like is that there's a gusset. So this whole inseam is one continuous panel all the way through the crotch and down. You don't have any seams right there, which is nice. And then I had another thought, but I don't remember. Oh, it's great for like if you're gonna sit down with your legs crossed and stuff like that, having a gusset gives you added movement. There's a lot of top stitching. That's nice. It really keeps things down and flat, so there's no flopping around seam allowances. Like this one I serged. These I didn't serge because I wasn't sure how it was all going to go together, and I was hesitant to serge and then regret it. And really, because it's loungewear and it's top stitched down, it doesn't bother me that this is raw at all, honestly. So yeah, and then I think I showed this last time, but this is just a detail you can choose to do based on Mimi G's sew along, not in the instructions. The instructions want you to fold this under, this little itty bitty under. Have fun with that. And then this is raw. This is how it is in the instructions, to leave that raw. So that's just some fun details. I don't think I mentioned this last time. I did talk about the sew along not matching the written instructions, which is annoying. It's a sew along from Mimi G on Simplicity's YouTube channel. You would think it would match, doesn't. And one area I found that they don't match that is really important, that really irks me, is the back neck facing. So you have a little facing that you attach and it wants you to understitch. Now, it has you trim the seam to 1/4 of an inch. Then you have 3 layers of some sort of knit fabric, which likes to go bloop when it's cut, right? And you are supposed to understitch that. I'm not gonna say it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible, but then you fold it under anyway. Like you don't leave this edge raw. It has you fold it under anyway and then top stitch it. So why are we understitching? Like the understitching is not necessary in that case. Maybe some other fabrics, I don't know. I shouldn't say it's not necessary. I'm not experienced enough to say that 1000%, but like, I don't think it's necessary. And you know who doesn't think it's necessary either? Mimi G in her sew along on the Simplicity website. So that's annoying because could you imagine if you're just like really trying to understitch? Like, good Lord. Anyway, that was frustrating. Okay, I'll let it go. Overall though, it's a very comfortable set. I do really like it. The other thing I sewed for myself is this Cielo. It's a closet core pattern. It's the one I'll be teaching in class. Closet core actually featured the other one I made, the shop sample, which is View A. Featured that on their Instagram. They made a post about different Cielos and mine is in there, so that's cool. But I made this, which is View 2. Okay, we're gonna talk about the View thing in a second, but it is the dress with the pockets, but then I added the big gathered sleeves. I wanted to make sure I had sewn every option, every variation, so that obviously I can teach other people how to do it. I need to do it first. So I used this yarn dyed chambray from my local quilt shop, and then this is just like another really kind of low quality chambray that I had in my stash. It is pretty see-through. It's going to be hard to tell. I don't know if you won't be able to tell, but it's pretty see-through. But I just used it for these back shoulder panels and then the cuffs. I did use this decorative stitch both here on the shoulder panel and on the cuffs, which I really like. I don't really like the sleeves, just not for me. I think they're cute, but I already feel like this area of my body is proportionally a little larger than other parts of my body, so these big voluminous sleeves draw a lot of attention to it. I have not worn this like out and about, so maybe I'll feel differently once I wear it more, but currently I'm not a big fan. But what I can always do is take them off and make them the cuffed short sleeve because there's plenty of fabric in there. The pockets I do really like. So the pocket construction is interesting. Let me flip it inside out. So you have a bottom piece and then the top of the front, and you sew them together along this curve and then just baste the sides before you move on with your life. But it's really cool. So the front of the pocket is this piece. Does that make sense? It's really cool. It does not come designed with a center back seam. I did that because I didn't want to use a ton of fabric. So fun tip, if you want to eke a little more out of your fabric, it's fine to create a center back seam, if you did not already know that. Okay, so the one thing I want to mention about the Cielo. So I have both the digital version and the paper copy. I bought the digital version so I would have extended sizing so everyone can participate in class, which has turned out to be a really good thing. And then the paper pattern is what you get for buying class. I got it because I'm teaching the class. I just want to talk about, I know I'm nitpicky sometimes on these companies and it's so easy for me to sit back and be like, you should do better. But you should do better. First of all, what's different here? View A, short sleeved with cuffs and a crop top. View B. One is a cropped shirt with gathered sleeves, boxy top as they call it, gathered sleeves. The other is a dress with pockets and short sleeves. So just notice that. And then we have 2 view C's. That's not a D. And on the website in the digital version, the views match this, except obviously that's a D, not a C. Which is really confusing when you're talking to people about which view they want to make. Who's proofreading this stuff? Like, I don't know. That's kind of a big error to make, is to have the views be different. And I know it's like only applicable if you're talking to someone else about a view. Like if you're talking to a friend and being like, oh, I made view B of this, I made view C of it. But like, bro, come on. Anyway, other than that, it's an outstanding pattern. I've enjoyed making it. The instructions are flawless. I'm so excited to be teaching it. I just found that kind of annoying. Okay, now we're moving into toddler stuff. I have to go get the toddler soon, so I'm gonna go kind of quickly. I got some fabric from Fabric Mart, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, and I sewed, it was just 3 different 1-yard cuts of knit fabric because they had $1 shipping and they were on sale. I don't have to explain myself, but I got this one. It's tie-dye because my little hippie baby loves tie-dye. She will wear anything tie-dye. I used it to make the Harlow dress and romper from Peekaboo Patterns. It does have little optional pockets you can put in. I didn't top stitch them. You were supposed to put the pockets in and then top stitch them. I understitched and then just left it, and it seems to be holding up mighty fine. I have a picture of my daughter wearing this. In it, the elastic is definitely a little too big. It's like hitting under her belly. So after she wore it that day, I took the elastic in some. She has not worn it again since, so I don't know if it's an improvement, but it's got to be. I did use a little Made by Mom label. Super easy, super fun pattern. I wanted to make the romper, but she is potty trained, and a couple weeks ago I took her to the bathroom for the first time since potty training when she was wearing a romper. And I pulled her romper all the way down and she flipped out. She was like, "Don't take my romper off." Okay, so you don't like things where you have to get totally naked to go to the bathroom. I feel that. So long story short, we're not doing rompers for a while. I went with the dress. Plus that's just easier for her going potty. Speaking of small underwear, I'm not going to show them because that feels weird, but I have made her a couple pairs of the Waves and Wild Speedy Pants. Free pattern. It has boxers and briefs. I really, really like it because there are bands instead of elastic at the legs and the waist. The rest of her undies are just like store-bought cheapo ones with characters on them. And the elastic on some of them is already coming apart. She's only been potty trained for 3 months. And like, to be fair, at the beginning, you end up washing them kind of a lot, but they're already like the elastic's coming apart and stuff. I know I could probably make some with better elastic, but having the bands just totally avoids that. They're not her favorite. She doesn't reach for them a lot. There's one pair she never reaches for, the first ones I made, because they're boring. The second pair is very fun though, and she does actually like to wear them. Great pattern. I made her a size 4. She's 2. She fits in 2T everything. I made her a 4 so it would be easier for her to get on and off on her own, and they hold up just fine even without elastic. Just being the band, stay up just fine. So yeah, definitely check that out. Really, really good use of small amounts of fabric because they're small undies. Like, it's a small garment for a small person. So really, really good use of extra knit scraps you may have if you have a small person to make undies for. Anyway, then I made her this set as pajamas. This was a panel and it is so soft. It's a 1-yard panel, only sold as the panel, obviously. I almost went back on and like bought more for myself because it's so soft and it's so fun and bright. I used the Day Camp set from Peekaboo Patterns, free pattern. So it's a little big for pajamas. And I think a little big period for being a 2T. I made the 2T, it's the smallest size they have in that pattern. And it is a little big. Now in the US, pajamas for children are supposed to be close fitting, or the fabric is supposed to be treated with flame resistant chemicals. So let me just show you. This is a 2T store-bought pair of pajamas. It has food on it because she was wearing it this morning when she had breakfast. Sorry. Let me just show you the size difference. I do also have a picture of her in these. So that's the shorts size difference. And here's the shirt. Now these are, the day camp set is intended to be like day camp play wear, play clothes. So I definitely did not expect it to be as tight as pajamas because that is not the intention, and you don't have to have tight clothes to go to camp. But they are pretty big, I think. Even compared to her other t-shirts and shorts that are 2T, it's kind of big. But they're super comfy. We don't use open flames in our house, so I'm not that worried about the flammability thing. But just so you know, it's a little oversized. That does it for little people stuff. The alterations I did, 2 of them were shortening the sleeves of jackets, which was mostly pretty easy, and putting rank on one of the jackets. And then the one that was kind of fun, and I don't think is really technically an alteration, is making a party shirt. So a party shirt is just where you wear it on your most formal uniform. Both of the jackets I did were for the most formal uniform. The mess dress is what it's called in the Air Force. Maybe all branches. Anyway, you just take the sleeves and the back off of the shirt, use them as a template, as long as you didn't cut it. If you like ripped the whole seam, then you don't need to add seam allowance. Use fun novelty fabric, reassemble it, and then, after the formal part of an event has concluded, people can take their jacket off and show a little more personality. So I did that for someone, which was really fun and very easy. That, super easy. Honestly, even the jackets were easy. It just took me a long time because it's not something I have ever done. So how to do it was not difficult. It was just time consuming because I was slow. There was, hand sewing and stuff involved, but got all of that done and back to the owners and got money, which is nice, but not worth the amount of time. I was just trying to be helpful. Remind me not to be helpful again in the future. That was it for the alterations. I have been working on my standing tall quilt. It is not done. I didn't get it done for the reveal, and it's not done. I have been quilting it. I'm probably a quarter of the way done quilting it, but this other stuff had to take priority, doing those alterations and then getting everything ready for class. I don't think you can put yourself up for sainthood, but I would like to, because I'm tracing off pattern pieces for the students. Some of them haven't sent me their measurements and which view they want to make, so I'm kind of worried they're going to spend a lot of time on Saturday just like tracing and getting their stuff cut out, which would stink. The reason I'm doing this is because it's only one session, it's only 4 hours, and I don't want us to spend the whole time just getting to the point where fabric is cut out. That would be such a bummer, and I don't know, not really fair to them. So I'm tracing out pattern pieces for people, including some of them need to be graded and things like that. So that has been quite time consuming, but I think it'll be very worth it, so that in class we can kind of like talk about different ways to like trace or cut your pattern, but then like move into the actual cutting out your fabric and sewing portion, because that is, the meat and potatoes. But that does it for this week's edition of Friday Sews, you guys. Oh, plans. I'm in closest alligator mode, so it's something I'm sure they use in other jobs and communities too, but in the flying community, we would talk about, in training at least, you would talk about the closest alligator. Like, you're in a boat, what's going to eat you first? The closest alligator. So you just do like one thing at a time. And that is kind of how I've been. After class, it's going to be Project Dress a Girl. I have dresses done. I've been working on them throughout the year, but there are a couple more patterns I want to try. My video is going to be hopefully quick reviews of like 6 different patterns. I'm going to cover all the basics about the pattern, size range, whether it's free, where you can get it, blah, blah, blah. And then my experience sewing it. If there's anything specific you guys want to know about Project Dress a Girl patterns specifically, put that in the comments so I can make sure to include that in my video. Mine will be coming out next Wednesday, the 4th of September. So that's the next thing I'm finishing up. I want to finish my standing tall quilt. I have another collab coming up. That's it for the next week or so. that does it. Oh, life. I'm supposed to talk about life too. Nothing interesting is going on. I had a little stomach bug last week and felt like I was on death's door because I'm the most dramatic sick person ever. But I'm recovered now. I'm healthy again. I started marathon training this week. I am hoping to be faster. I ran a marathon last December and I talked about my training kind of a lot in Friday Sews. I probably won't talk about it as much this year because, you know, I've done it. It's done a marathon. It's my second marathon. Very experienced. But I'm hoping to go faster this year. So my training is going to be more, I just have like more runs. It's going to be longer runs, different types of runs, varying my speed and stuff. So I'm really, really excited about that. That I think does it for life. And I need to go pick up my child from the Y. She's at extra long playtime, having fun. Probably reading books and playing with Clifford and cooking stuff in their little kitchen. She loves it there, but it does end at noon and I need to go pick her up. So that does it for Friday Sews, you guys. I crammed a lot of stuff into a short amount of time, it feels like, because I had a lot to talk about. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. We'll see when I edit this. I will see you guys next week for my Project Dress a Girl video on Wednesday and on Friday for hashtag Friday Sews. If you haven't seen it, go back and check out my Porter collab number 2 that came out on Wednesday and let me know what you think of that and how that collab is going. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend, you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.